Hello, dear friends. I just want to speak today a little bit about occasional confusion that people experience when we speak in private sessions and when we gather together and things come up. And I think it's a common confusion that a person in a personal development could experience. The question becomes, what is more important, to maintain certain feelings, because that's where everything is coming from. Like people even obsess over gratitude and like being grateful and feeling blessed and feeling abundant and feeling loved and feeling like you are in love with the world, in love with nature, in love with people, etc. Or more grounded concepts such as like accomplishment, success, physical relationship, physical birth of a child, physical money in the bank, physical good-looking body, etc., etc. So there is like as if there is a contradiction, right? So people, those that are like more energetically motivated, like energy is everything, you have to really pump in good vibes, so to speak, and then things will evolve from that. And there's other side, even to one person, where you could be like in a pull me, push me kind of situation. No, who cares about energy? The main thing, set the strategy and accomplish certain goals and get those clients coming, or get those, I don't know, this book written and get the relationship going, and like yes or no, you have to really finalize. Are you getting married? Are you settling down? Are we getting like set for the family, and we want to bring children in the world? Like people get like practical, and people get maybe a little bit kind of sidetrack, which grounded people don't like so much, where there's like the most important is energy, the flow of the current mind, current flow of thoughts, current emotions that you're experiencing. You kind of check in, what is it that I'm feeling now? What is it that I truly want to feel now? So I think combination is the key. When you learn to hold a space for emotions, and you learn to hold a space for planning and being very grounded, being down here, knowing what's important to accomplish, etc., and not disqualifying either or. Like people that are into vibes, into meditation, into a certain state of being, kind of disqualify the other ones that are very much into structure and accomplish and get things done and one thing after another, and very stressed in a way, right? And those that are very much into that mode, they appreciate getting things done and accomplishing, and appreciate millions of dollars in their account and good-looking body and all this stuff. And they disqualify the emotional part of it. Like, who cares about emotions? Just get things done. And I think the most important thing here is to understand this disqualification creates separation between two functions. When we are too much fixated on one kind of mode of existence, then we, so to speak, need to disqualify another. It's the same as material and spiritual, right? Like people in the zone of spirituality, they say, who cares about the fashion, and who cares about the beauty and those mansions that people are after and endless cars that people are after. They kind of need to disqualify in order to bring up spirituality. The most important is the quality of a person, and the most important is their kindness and their compassion and their consideration. But in my opinion, one cannot exist without another. And we just have to clearly understand we don't need to disqualify. fashion and mansion and beautiful kind of workout and a set of yoga and like indulgement in like, so to speak, pampering the body and making the body more flexible and more beautiful and pampering your lifestyle and going from one fun thing to another in order to maintain spirituality. We don't need to disqualify one over another. Yes, in the olden days, a person needed to kind of like separate themselves from this world, and in order to tune into God and be more godly, be more refined, be more, what's it called, like a higher quality human being, right? But as time evolves and as spirituality becomes more and more grounded, I think right now we find more and more jointly working together a spiritual aspect of the person and material aspect of the person. We don't need to fight, we don't need to give up, we don't need to disqualify one or another. We just need to learn to understand that in order for me to be grounded, and I don't just want to be grounded. I want, let's say, if you want to buy a house, or you want to beautify your house, or you want to make house comfortable, or if you want relationship, or if you want to be fulfilled as a mother, and it's an endless process. It's not like you got a house, that's it, right? It's not like you got pregnant or you gave birth to a child and that's it. That motherhood, that ability to be comfortable in your own space that you create for yourself, it's constantly evolving. So a person has to understand what I'm grounding tomorrow or today is based on my emotions that I invited and I hold on to and I develop yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and a day after yesterday, right? So there's a set of emotions that I hold on to, I like, and I don't disqualify them. I don't say, oh, I'm not grounded right now, or I'm being too spiritual right now. Where is my success, and where is my money, and where is my husband, and where is everything else, right? You kind of see the chain of development. You say, everything in this world came from energy, came from a thought, came from emotion, came from a willpower, came from a desire to experience certain things. So yes, as grounded as we want to be, and as very much kind of practical that we want to be, it all came about as a result of certain set of emotions, certain set of feelings, certain package of thoughts that you again and again were thinking. And people don't make that connection. They either look at what's in front of them, but what's in front of them is a result of what you were thinking and processing and feeling and emotionally were involved in. So it's important to understand this is what I created, and there is a benefit here. If you identify, no matter what it is, heavy stuff or a light stuff, you have to identify you are the owner of those things. You somewhere, somehow wanted to go through that experience for certain maturity, for certain development, for certain ability to expand and become wider and bigger and more knowledgeable in certain things, right? So I wanted that. And a bunch of stuff brought that into reality. Bunch of emotional frequencies, energies, feelings, thoughts, habits brought this today moment that I'm in into reality. This is exactly what I wanted to ground, maybe without knowing too much that I wanted to ground that, but that's what came about. And at this point, I hope I'm not confusing those that are listening. And at this point, it's also important not to get too lost in the mess. Maybe some areas is too messy and too sticky and too clingy and too difficult for you kind of to chew on. So as you sit in that grounded facts that you are in, it could be you got fired from work, or you don't have enough money and you're still at that work, or it could be you're in an unhappy relationship, it could be you're single and you don't like it, it could be that you don't like where you live, the country you live in, you don't like the way your body looks. It doesn't matter what it is. It just, you have to understand right now emotions that, so to speak, reacting to this reality is at this moment creating your next step about it. So if you're sad, if you're regretting, if you feel a victim, if you feel abused, if you feel wasted, if you feel overlooked and unappreciated, so those set of emotions are re-inviting something very similar to what you don't like right now, which happened to be that you also created back a week ago or a month ago. So it's important to understand that spirituality, or being able to shift certain emotions, or uplift them, or move them, or change them, it's our responsibility, just like our responsibility to set a goal for a day and to make the phone calls you need to make and to get things done and to move things, practically speaking. So practically speaking, you're very much responsible for what you're thinking and what you are feeling, because that's what is slowly creating your future and putting you in a certain world, right, where those elements from those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts create different concepts, different processes, different reality, so to speak, right? So if you say it's extremely practical for me to not control my thoughts and not control my emotions, but know how to navigate them, that's an important factor. A lot of people force themselves when they sit in the mud. They're like, no, I have to write gratitude list and be grateful for everything, but they're not energetically there. Energetically, they're in the mud, right? So it's important to validate, accept the mud. I created it. Some bunch of thoughts or some belief system made me come here. I'm responsible fully for all this. As much as I want to pin it on someone else, I'm very much responsible for what's going on here right now. And then you say, how could I slowly, emotionally take myself out from it? So as much as I want to focus only on a bad factor, I want to also go a little bit maybe general and look at the sun and look at the weather and look at the things that are working out in my life, things that are happening and go smoothly, things that, let's say, work in my body. Maybe I'm not doing that well with my boss, but I'm actually a healthy human being. I have a good set of relationship, whether it's with relatives or with friends. I have a nice place to live in. Things are easy for me on that level. I make occasional vacations and I go places where I want to be. Like, start focusing, not take yourself too much out of like, whoa, I'm in this $1 million house and I'm with a lover of my life and la la la, like out of the complete belief system that you're in. Focus on things that are already happening in your life right now for real, that you could appreciate. And you could stick around to those things. You have children by your side, you have good friends, you have X amount of money that you have access to, you have unbelievable resources with people that you communicate or that mentor you or that help you heal certain traumas and certain programs. Just focus on those things don't necessarily force yourself to put down that focus on the mud and discomfort and devastation and certain stuff that you're experiencing. Let it also be there, but so to speak, expand your vision to things that are flowing easily, right? And easier, and are happening in your life, and they're there for you. And you're young, and you're beautiful, and you're flexible, and etc. etc. And you have this phone, and you have unbelievable other stuff. And again, check in. Are you forcing yourself to look there? And the minute when you start forcing yourself, it becomes like work. People have this tendency to make themselves work on their emotional state of being. It's not work, it's a focus, and it has to be enjoyable. This enjoyable focus has to be part of our kind of looking after ourselves. I enjoy taking a walk by the beach. I don't need to force myself. The minute I force myself walking at the beach, I have to slow down, and I have to stop, and I have to say to myself, that's somebody's thought, that's somebody's enjoyment. I want to grow into it. I want to be like them. I want to associate with those that enjoy walking at the beach. But maybe for me it's not enjoyable. Maybe it's too bright. Maybe it's too sandy. Maybe it's too windy. Maybe I don't appreciate busyness maybe at some beaches. And slow down and check in. Don't just assume you want certain things. Don't assume you want certain relationship. Don't assume you want certain lifestyle. Don't assume you want certain spirituality that once upon a time you decided you liked it. You don't have to be, in a way, captured by it for a lifetime. You always need to shift and say, what is it I truly would enjoy doing now, or thinking now, or journaling about now, or speaking to whom now if I want, or interacting with anything, or inviting into my life like a hobby that I always wanted. And start with that, because if you are connected with that feeling of I truly enjoy doing that, and I always made myself do other stuff which are must do and has to be done and it's appropriate, right? That is forcing, and there's element of self-abuse. You will re-invite based on those emotions where you say, I could be abusive just for the sake of getting things done. And there are abusive setup of experiences will come your way. And you say, I never wanted to be looked down at or neglected or overlooked. But you say to yourself, what is it that I was doing to myself maybe a couple of weeks ago, a couple of years ago, forcing myself to do the right thing without checking in, what is it truly that I would like to do? And a lot of people, when they get overly pushed to must do and has to be done and kind of responsible mode, when they tune in to what they want to do absolutely something negative, distractive, from like a lazy side of them. It's also not a true read on who and what they truly want to do, because they went so far off in their kind of like center. When they tune in and they ask themselves, what is it that I truly want to do? I just want to sleep. I never want to work. I just never want to have responsibilities. And you stay put with that. You say, aha, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And you accept. You kind of need to center yourself a little bit in order to come to a true, genuine realization that I want to be useful, but I don't want to be abusive to myself and my environment and others. I want to be utilizing all my talents. I want to be efficient, and I definitely want to be effective, and I definitely want to be productive, and I want to accomplish stuff, but I want to do it in a very loving setup for myself, very kind of unpressed setup for myself. And you know, I could only speak from like a recent experience, right? So I lost my husband, as all of you know, and definitely it was that shock at first, shock and a bunch of other emotions that takes our mind, our system, our psyche, takes us into this grief period. But at the same time, you say to yourself, that's not a regular state of being. As much as other people might want me to hold that precious space for my loved one, as much as that's going to be appreciated, I definitely know this is a very temporary place where I'm kind of passing through. I'm going through, because that's how my most limited part of me, my body, my mind, and my persona could cope in this setup after the shock and after all what happened. This is my temporary place, and this place, as much as I honor and accept and give its all validation and space, I really want to be in a more vibrant place where there's no regret or missing. I want to translate that loss into, wow, what great of an opportunity we had, what an amazing experience we had, and what expression of love we exchanged. And you kind of switch from mourning, from grief, from loss, from missing, from loneliness, right? You gradually shift to appreciation and through honoring and to being grateful for all that. And the same thing could happen with relationship. A person could sit in the mud and say, I have so much traumas from previous relationship, I can't even commit to anything else, everything reminds me, what if this, and I'm super cautious, and I'm super conscious, and I'm super aware, and I cannot pass it, and everything triggers me, and everything brings me back. So you have to work towards a place where about that past relationship, not only you don't feel trauma or extreme cautious kind of alert, or a feeling of regret of like you lost your time, you lost your beautiful period of your life, or feeling guilty or feeling blameful, blah, blah, blah. Not only you don't feel any of that, and not through force, but through work of acceptance and therapy, etc., but you want to see yourself, or you want your therapist to see you eventually coming to a place and say, I only want to fixate thinking about that previous relationship on the good aspect. And it was such love there, and there was such closeness there, and there was such joy and connection there, and there was a lot accomplished in that kind of synergy together. And we were in love, and we did a lot, and we were happily anticipating certain projects, and we were putting our all both in sincerely. And even though at the end it felt like it was all a betrayal, and it was all kind of like use of each other, and it was even abusive, etc., etc., you want to fixate on stuff that you want to bring yourself back into that energy. And a lot of people, when they don't leave off their, when they don't process their traumas, they will have hard time kind of only focusing on a beautiful stuff that you experience in a certain relationship, or a certain business that you lost, or anything else. Or let's say you gave birth to a bunch of kids and you got fat, and that's out of control, and you can't really regain back the same body flexibility. Anything that you might regret, right? You look back and you say, I want to look at that process, me becoming, me processing, me giving birth, me becoming a mother, me exchanging communication with my child, me growing against that child or that setup, that relationship. And yes, my body got neglected a little bit because I was so involved in other expression. But I remember my body when I first started thinking about wanting to have a kid, and I remember how I used to take care of it. And you kind of go back, connecting to your body, and you say, I see you. I kind of put you down a little bit by focusing on some other stuff. You're so important to me. I'm ready to pick up, in a way, a romance with you. I'm ready to fall in love with you again and give you my attention and tune in. What age am I in? What climate am I in? That what worked 15 years ago for my body is no way gonna work right now. I'm not going to force my body to kind of obey my orders based on what I remember used to work. If I never used to eat certain food and I would lose weight in 3 days and look vibrant and beautiful, I can't do that anymore to my body. Right now, my body needs a lot of attention, a lot of pampering, and yes, good quality food, maybe less, but good quality food, maybe more fats than I used to need back then, maybe less carbs that didn't affect that much back then. And you kind of tune in and give that love again, right? So if you want relationship, you have to bring back happy relationship into a vivid kind of setup in your mind and your emotions. You have to feel that you were in love and you were loved and you were in this kind of flow of energy with your partner, and you knew how to hold that space, and you knew how to get out from fights, and you were so skilled back then, and you bring back that aspect of relationship, because that's what's going to bring other relationship in. That's what's going to bring your perfect body if you start giving that love and attention. And again, if it becomes like a work, like a duty, you have to drink this smoothie at this time, and you have to stop eating this, and it becomes an obligation and one routine after another, and you do your face, and then you do your body, and then you do your yoga. If it becomes an exhausting process, then you lost touch again with that energy. Then always tune in. Yeah, acts are great. All those kind of amazing procedures and routines and ideas and recipes and diets and walks and yogas and exercise and at certain times, they're all great. But if the energy that moves all of that is the force, is control, is trying to fit in, trying to prove a point to someone subconsciously or to something, then that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to come out. Yeah, you might lose weight or look more healthier and vibrant, but your eyes will shine that control and that freakiness in a way, right? Like you see, a lot of people they lose weight and they get healthy, but they're like miserable. They're like sad and uncomfortable, and they're like irritated by little things, and they're upset, and everything triggers them. And what's that? That is the energy that moved them to do this exercise, or the energy that moves you to get married quickly out of like desperation or loneliness. Or so you just say, I have to shift that loneliness, and I have to that motor that moves me towards other relationship is not helping. It's just going to pop out in a more grounded, wider, more vivid place. That loneliness will be created in in actuality, and it will show itself. So my motivation has to be, I was a creator of amazing relationship in the past, and I was able to hold that currency, that frequency, right? I accomplished that, and I want to take that further. I want to see how that love, exchange of understanding, exchange of fun, exchange of feeling good, and exchange of accomplishing things together, getting things done in a most fun and graceful way. I want to take that further. I know I could do more of that. So you bring good energy of your relationship and you move it into motion with what's next about that. Not I'm going to prove to myself that the previous relationship was miserable, but I could do better. Or I could prove it to my mom, or could prove it to my dad, or could prove it to my ex-partner, or could prove it to my kids, or could prove it to my friends. Or I could just like do it for myself because I think I deserve not to be lonely, right? So all that has some low vibrant energy, and it's either going to break a person and they just like deflate as they go and accomplish stuff, right? Or they will finally create another misery in a way, you know? And that's not what you want. You want to very much be conscious and honest. What is it that motivates me to work? What is it that motivates me to beautify my surrounding? What is it that motivates me to look after my body? What is it that motivates me, like I'm into last months into intermittent fasting? What is it that motivates me? Oh, my thought process. It's not even to lose weight and to look more beautiful. It's more about my thought process that was overwhelmed actually does much better when I do intermittent fasting. For my constitution, for the climate I'm in, intermittent fasting may be not for everyone. Not for every setup, not for any all the periods of your life. But I'm just giving an example. It makes it easier for me. I'm helping myself and I like it. I am there for myself. I'm showing up for myself. I really like to be there for myself. It helps me process. If by eating certain food made me feel heavier and my thoughts process was heavier to shift, if I would only feel lonely and unhappy and missing my loved one that I just lost, that's not where I want to be all the time. But I don't want to force it. I want to be able to just catch myself moment by moment at the thought, wow, I'm so grateful we had this opportunity to spend 6 years together. And that came as a result of certain resources that you provide for yourself. That spontaneous thought that was not forced, was not made believe, was not a lie. It just came naturally. And that's where you want to be. You want to naturally flow with more vibrant thoughts, thoughts that create more positivity, re-invite more ease, re-invite more happiness, re-invite more kind of accomplishment and development, but with ease and flow, right? So when those of us that are like practical and those of us that are like more spiritual, I want you to learn to combine those things and say, one can't exist without another. Whatever thoughts we have, whatever frequencies our thoughts are here now, some people have repetitive thoughts, everything is going to just go bad, I just know it. That's an old pattern, and you want to get to the root of it. You want to uproot it. You want to find those therapists that help you uproot that. So you will notice, not force, not push away, not repress. You notice those thoughts that used to come about everything is just going to go bad, everything is just going to collapse, they don't come anymore. You want to get there. You want to get that decluttered. You want to uproot that. You want to get this out from your system. So more positive, more inviting, more loving thoughts repeat itself in your mind. I hope this was beneficial, and I hope it was helpful. I will tune into any requests that you want me to address. Please write down below. Please check out my YouTube video channel, and sign in and be part of it, and let me know if there's anything you want me to expand and to talk a little more about or elaborate. I'm here for you, and I would like you to be in touch with me and in contact, and so we could be mutually helpful and beneficial. And I love you all, and we'll be in